surprised how you forget.
Okay, so what day is today?
I already
June
forgot.
27th.
It's your birthday.
It's my birthday!
It's the birthday. Oh, it's your birthday and my dad's birthday.
Yes!
That's right.
Oh, that's
Happy
cool.
birthday, Pop.
Hold on, I have to say happy birthday. It's my birthday.
That's good.
That's
and
right.
nobody died on your birthday in
Nope.
our family.
Nobody died on my birthday.
Good thing.
But Joseph Smith died on June 27th.
That's right.
June 27th, yeah.
Oh.
Just
So that's
with-
going to do it. Every year I think if we just get past
Past, yeah.
Someone's birthday.
Danny's
Somebody's birthday.
Yep. That is, oh, Jesse just wrote back that Katara attacked her.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Look, Katara's psycho. She's like, she'll
Well,
be
she
real
was-
sweet and friendly, and then all of a sudden she'll like freak out and attack you, and then run off.
Really?
Well,
Yep.
you can't treat Katara like Appa.
No.
She can't treat him like Appa. Like, you can love on her, and then you just let Katara do what she wants to do.
Yeah.
Wow.
She is. She's a little.
Well, because
she's a little
she's been
feral.
an outdoor cat. So,
Yeah, she's been outdoor for a while.
so she's
She's wild.
used to reacting differently to
Yeah.
different things.
Yeah. So anyway, so we've got. So tonight is my birthday, and we are back with Nani and Poppie.
It's
And-
2016.
It is 2016. Oh yes, thank you.
That's
probably
right,
important to put down.
2016.
I'm 46 years old,
Yeah.
and we're gonna have you guys talk a little bit about what you remember of all the sons growing up, the boys growing up, and you can start with the most important one. That's me.
Yes. That's easier because there's a whole lot of things we can say about Danny.
Oh
when
boy.
they start young.
Yes.
And by the time he was about 3, he was, pretty well. His vocabulary was good and he could speak very well. And one time he was supposed to give the opening prayer for primary, I guess, which we may have called junior Sunday school in that, Anyhow, he said, and thank you for the war in Vietnam because it keeps the world from being overpopulated. Which I knew where he'd heard it because it was so likely that I had said it sarcastically. But fortunately, he had a lisp.
Yes.
And
And he didn't quite understand
and
what
the
he
lady
said.
said to me, "What did he say?" And I said, "It's really hard to understand sometimes because he does have that lisp, you know."
Yeah.
And then there was a time at the ward picnic
Yes.
when the bishop called on the guy that was standing behind Danny to give the opening prayer, to give the blessing on the food. And Danny just started
Oh yes, I can.
How old was he?
3 or 4.
3 or 4.
That is
And
hilarious.
so he just blessed the food. And the bishop said, "Let's eat."
That's awesome.
Oh, and I just thought of something else, but now I can't remember. Well, I do remember that. Well, let's see how. When you were about the nickel that you swallowed.
Yeah, we said that yesterday, but yeah.
Did we tell
Yes.
you?
We've got.
Did you have
We
that
got
on?
we got that recorded.
Yeah, we got the
Okay.
nickel
Okay.
story recorded.
There's so many things.
Oh, hopefully you
I'll
get-
have to. I have to. What can you remember about him?
What if the human body could be trained to find
Oh,
What's that? Oh,
I'm sorry.
the human body brain. Yes.
so what? Maybe we should start with David, and work our way back. So, David was born where?
He was born
In
in
Provo.
Provo.
Okay.
At the hospital, at the Provo Hospital, which is still there.
Yeah.
But it's now
Only it's
called-
about 3 or 4 times as large as it was then.
And I think it's called the Utah Valley.
Yeah, it's Utah Valley Hospital.
And what do you remember about him?
I remember that when he was born. In those days, the fathers were not in the same room. There was a father's room,
Where
Yeah.
you wait.
and you could not be in the same room where your wife was.
Okay.
Bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so all of us fathers were sitting in this room and it was down the hall. And all of a sudden I heard this big wail clear down the hall. And I said, that's my son. What?
And sure enough,
And sure enough, it was David. And David was red. I mean, well, you know, babies are kind of red anyway. Well, anyway, David seemed to me, well, and he was the first one to see some. I didn't realize babies were red, and so I called him Snagger.
Snagger?
Now, Snagger, when I was growing up on the Indian reservation, there were these old Indians that would sit out in front of this saloon in their chairs, and they were real old, and I called them Snaggers. They were the old, and I was scared to death of them. So my mother would ask me to go and get groceries, and I'd have to go past that saloon to get to the grocery store.
Yeah.
So what I would do is I'd go down the street, cross the street, a block before the Snaggers, come across with my wagon on that block, and then go down another block, and then go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Anyway, David is red and just really.
And he had both of his fists like.
Yes, and so I call him Snagger.
How long did you call him Snagger?
Long time.
Off and on.
Yeah.
I think I remember calling him Snagger.
Yeah.
And when you didn't say it out loud, you said it in your head.
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah.
And he was just darling.
Oh, everybody would look at him. They all would want to take a look at him, and then they'd say, "Oh, he's the most beautiful baby I've ever seen."
He really was a very,
And he
very
was a very
beautiful
beautiful
baby.
baby.
But when we went home,
Tell him about the prostitutes.
that's Joey.
Oh, is that Joey? Oh, I thought it was David.
You'll have to
You
wait.
might as well see. You might as well tell that one.
Okay. I'm very possessive of my babies.
Yes.
And we're walking downtown in Salt Lake, close to the library,
Yeah.
main library there. And these two girls came up and they had very short mini skirts on, and they had kind of like sandals with the wraparound.
The wraparound,
things.
yeah, up their leg.
And a lot of makeup. And they came up and wanted to see the baby. So I thought, you know, even the least. So I showed them Joey, and they said, "Oh, can we hold him?" Oh, I thought, okay.
Oh.
But I didn't want them to hold him. But they did, and they didn't take him away from me.
That's
Good. And he
good.
didn't catch any diseases?
And he didn't catch any.
No,
Good.
no. I thought, oh, these poor girls, and they were young. And I felt really bad for them, but I really wanted them to give me my baby.
I don't want you to hold my child.
Okay.
Well, and part of that was because in those days you didn't. The thing to do was to not take your baby out in public or to church until they were at least a month old.
Now this is where there's a little divergence in how we remember this. Bob and I didn't want to take our children out to church until they were a month to 6 weeks
Mhm.
when they were blessed, you know.
Yeah.
And it was because one of our friends had two boys, and then they finally had a girl, and they were so excited, and they took her to all these meetings and the parents and in the crowds, and the baby got pneumonia and died. And it was just horrible, and we went to the funeral, and there was this little tiny, like a shoebox
Yeah.
almost,
Oh.
under his arm.
Yeah, they brought him out.
So-
a little white casket. That,
I was only
Oh, that's-
allowed to, we could go and take walks with the baby, or we could go in the car with the baby.
Yeah.
But we didn't take them anywhere
Yeah.
around where they might be able to.
Well, we
catch
saw that.
things.
We saw. Isn't that the one we saw in church?
Yes, they were
The
in front
Sunday
of
before he
us.
died.
No, the Sunday, yeah, that was.
Yeah, the Sunday, and they died Monday. Didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or a
the
couple
baby
days
died
later.
Monday, and the baby was right in front of us with his parents, and it looked really did
Lips
not
were blue.
blue, yeah, and it just
and
did
I
not
leaned
look
over
good at
and
all.
said, "Is your baby okay?" You know, and she says, "I don't think so. But after sacrament meeting, we're going to take it to the hospital." And I thought, I wouldn't wait. You know?
Oh,
Oh,
It was really
So
sad.
that
That is
because of
sad.
that,
So none of you guys.
yes, none of the boys, none of the babies got taken to church.
You
Before
know,
they were a month old.
Yeah.
I didn't know that story, but I know that with all of these kids, we waited a month before we took them out in public, really. And
Yeah.
It's because you guys kept telling me, you should wait a month.
Yeah.
You should wait a month. I was like, okay.
And I guess we didn't tell you the reason, but
No.
but it was kind of that way too. People just didn't do that.
Yeah.
Whereas now,
Now they bring
nowadays,
them right
Amy
up.
took Sabrina when she was 1 week old, and I thought, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
you know. And she said, well, I said, I'll stay home with her, you know. And she said, oh no, my beehives will be so excited to see her and they want to hold her and everything. And I thought, oh, things have changed. And
So
she
what-
was just fine.
What about John when John was a baby? Do you remember anything about John?
John was a very interesting looking baby.
but how when he was born, the pediatrician was our stake president.
Yeah.
No, that's
No, the OB,
Obi, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yes, was our stake president.
Really?
And so, and he was, and Bob would say to me, now this time don't swear. And I thought, I don't remember swearing. And he said, and you screamed. And I said, I did not scream, I moaned.
Big difference.
Oh,
There
that's
is
what
a
we
big
should
difference.
tell. Nani, with David, you know the pains get really bad, you know, and so she finally said to me,
Go and get the doctor.
go and get the doctor.
I don't want a nurse, I want the doctor.
So I went outside of the room and just waited at the door. Because it was about, I can't remember, this was I don't know how many times she asked me to do this. So
Oh
Because the nurses were really mean.
the nurses were bad, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, and they said, you're not really, I said, I'm having those bearing down
Yeah,
pains. And
yeah.
they said, no, you're not. And I went,
They always said that, yeah.
And so
But John was easy, wasn't he?
John was easy.
John was the easiest of all of them.
Yeah.
And he just, I had 6 pains. Well, first of all, Poppie was teaching seminary.
That's right, yes. This
And-
was in Gaithersburg.
No,
No,
Los Gatos.
Los Gatos, California, yeah.
And so the state president, who was the doctor, said, take your wife, bring your wife in to the hospital, go, teach seminary and come back and she should be pretty, started. So they did that, and I only had 6 pains and they gave me the anesthetic. And it was really interesting because he was the child that didn't hurt.
Yeah.
But he made up for,
Yeah.
because he always got,
Oh, he was the one that always got hurt or.
Why don't you tell, and this is kind of jumping ahead from babies, but talk about when John got sick.
Oh,
that wasn't good. He and David went to a karate camp and they were 9 and 11. David,
we were living in Sandy.
yes. And evidently he was up, first he went to what fathers and sons thing.
Yeah,
And then they went to a karate camp,
the next week.
Taekwondo,
yeah.
the next week. And he was running alongside the car of somebody's car and holding on to it, and he slipped and fell and just got an abrasion on his shoulder, a road burn. And that's how they think that the germs got inside. But so he came back from that camp and he said, gee, my back hurts. Well, they ran 5 miles every day.
Yeah,
and then worked out and did all these things, and so I figured, well, why don't you go take a nice hot bath? And so he did. But he really was in a lot of pain, and my dad was there, and he said, I think we need to give him a blessing, and then you need to take him to the doctor. So that's what they did. And I took him to the doctor, and his fever was 106. But that's as high as the thermometer went up, so I figured, well,
Wow.
and he was really, really sick. And he had like Joseph Smith had that infection inside the bone in his leg, only it was inside of his spine.
Oh, my
So
God.
the white count never elevated, and they could not figure out what was causing this fever. And,
Didn't it go weeks?
well, yeah.
A couple weeks
couple
before they
weeks,
ever
3
figured out.
3 weeks, I think, or
Yeah,
more,
yeah.
till they figured out what it was. And I think it's because I finally went in and prayed and said, Heavenly Father, my mother, I know my mother's in heaven and that she will take care of John, so if it's thy will.
Yeah, because he was not
Yeah.
getting better and just, well, he was really getting, they
That's
were,
scary.
They
And
were-
every day they'd say to us, well, we really can't tell for sure
yeah, because they
whether
never
he
could
was
figure out what
gonna
was going on.
be paralyzed or if he was, that was icky. And so, eventually, he did get better. They operated on him, and
How did they ever figure out what happened?
well, because you were there when they did the spinal tap.
Yeah. Oh.
And evidently they hit a pocket that wasn't
Yes.
right inside the spine, but it just
Squirted all over.
was under so much pressure, and it was green. And he said, I could not have gotten into his spine because no one can live if this is in his spine.
Oh, wow.
So, but he had, the neurosurgeon who was the son of the GP I had first taken him to said, that he did his residency somewhere, in, I think Arizona or something, and he had seen someone who had similar, symptoms, but they were paralyzed, But
Or he
that
at least seen
person,
somebody that had the
Yeah.
same.
yeah, and it starts usually, it's very rare, but when it does start, it starts about in the thoracic region, and by the time they got to the doctor or the hospital, they were already paralyzed. But John's hit at about waist level where the little things begin inside his spine, so there was more room. But it was really yucky. It was so
Wow.
sad.
Yeah.
It was really sad.
How
And-
did they deal? I mean, how did he heal from it? What did they
Well,
do?
they took the backs off of, I think, 5 or 6 vertebrae.
To
And,
open up the spinal
and then
cord.
they could open it up and clean it
Yeah,
out.
and they fleshed it out.
So it wasn't in the spinal cord? Was it in the casings
It was
surrounding the
Around
spinal
it,
cord?
yeah.
No, it was inside.
Yeah.
Like Joseph Smith's,
Wow.
it was an infection inside the bone. And they took it out and cleaned it all out, and the doctor said, well, I think you'll be, I think that's what it was, but we can't be sure. Oh, it's Gayan, turn off.
Call from
To be
Okay.
continued.
We're gonna
Hold
pause.
on.
Hello.